Our bio video project is on sexual selection. Our big question is the following. Why do we see such stark differences among females and males in some species, but not in others? Sexual selection is a subset of natural selection arising through preference by one sex for certain characteristics in individuals of the other sex. Selection only occurs when there is competition for mates. It accounts for elaborate traits in organisms that initially seem unnecessary. There are two forms of sexual selection, intrasexual and intersexual. Intrasexual selection results from direct competition for mates between members of the same sex, usually between males. One example of intrasexual selection is the elephant seal. Males compete for the chance to mate with females. Over time, this has created size dimorphism between the sexes. The other form of sexual selection is intersexual selection. Intersexual selection is a form of sexual selection between the sexes. One example of intersexual selection is the bowerbird, who builds a nest for his mate. Females choose their mate based off of their complex dancing ritual and ability to build a fancy bower. The sex that invests more in offspring production has fewer reproductive opportunities, which means they are more selective in the mating process and become a limiting resource for the opposite sex, spurring intersexual competition. Sexual dimorphism is often the result of sexual competition. Sexual dimorphism is a notable phenotypic difference between sexes of a species, caused by either form of sexual selection. In a population where sexual selection is active, there are two main reasons behind mate choice: direct and indirect benefits. Direct benefits include increased nutrition, provisioning, paternal care that increases reproductive output or quality of offspring. There are two hypotheses for indirect benefits. The first is the good gene hypothesis. Genetically superior mates produce more fit offspring, therefore increasing the likelihood they will live to reproduce. The sexy son hypothesis posits that the limiting sex chooses mates based off of their ability to find a mate in the future. Although modern humans don't have ornamental differences between sexes, evidence suggests that sexual selection may have acted in populations of our hominin ancestors and may still be present in our everyday lives. Another example of sexual selection in humans is the male preference for females with a lower waist-to-hip ratio. Having a lower waist-to-hip ratio is not only seen as attractive because it indicates a lower body fat distribution, but studies show that low waist-to-hip ratios also correlate well with cardiovascular health and longevity, while a high WHR puts women at greater risk for diabetes, autoimmune diseases, and cancer.
Oh, baby, now let's get down tonight.
Would you rather? Sexual Selection Edition.
What's sexual selection?
Sexual selection is a special type of natural selection that favors individuals who look or act a certain way because of their perceived ability to help in reproducing healthy offspring.
There are two types of sexual selection, intra and inter. First, let's take a look at intrasexual selection.
I wonder who my next mate will be. This one, because he's so strong.
That's right. Here we saw direct competition for mates within the same sex. Now let's take a look at intersexual selection.
Which one will I choose as my next mate? I choose you.
That's right. Here we saw selection between the sexes. The female chose the male with better hair and characteristics.
Thanks for watching this episode of Would You Rather? Sexual Selection Edition.
When I get that feeling